Okay, we're on.
Are we on?
We're on.
Is it all correct?
I hope it's all correct. Hi. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Please.
Almost live.
Almost live.
Depending on which way you're watching it.
Please make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Hopefully you're watching us right now on Facebook or on YouTube. We're also on Twitter at Hollywood Matter, M-A-T-R, and on Instagram at Hollywood Matrimony. I've done my part. Next.
Show's over.
Bye. As always, we have snacks.
I'm all ready today. What's your problem?
I'm ready. What are we talking about?
Are we going to go through like last week where you spent 20 minutes with a computer that doesn't work?
No, my computer works today, but
Does
today
it?
you have to tell me what movie we're going to talk about first.
Well, we have a few. Like usual, we have two theatricals.
Theatra?
I have one that... excuse me. I have one that I watched. It was a digital screener that it opened in limited release, I think.
I'm having an
And
allergy.
on demand and digital. And we watched an Amazon exclusive movie.
Yeah.
Not a Netflix movie this week.
We did
It's
watch
been
Netflix.
out-
Or was that on Amazon?
It was Amazon.
Oh, Amazon?
It's Amazon. It's actually been out for a while. We just
We're
never
just
got around
late
to
to
it.
the party.
It was a case of let's find something to watch, and we
Yeah.
scrolled through and we've had it saved forever, and then forgot about it.
Yeah.
So we went
Well,
back to
that's
watch it,
normal.
so-
That's what we normally do.
So we have three movies we saw together, and then I have this one other one that I saw.
Wow,
But
that's really good this week.
we don't necessarily have to talk about the one I saw. We can just talk about the other three if you want.
I want to talk about what you saw. Tell me what you saw.
Well, I saw this movie called Hallowed Ground,
Okay.
which it's an independent film.
Okay.
I don't know if it's independent. It's low budget.
Okay.
Lower budget, smaller budget. One that's kind of like usually they get like select theatrical releases and then mostly digital and on demand. Very smaller release. It doesn't have any like really big stars in it or anything like that kind of thing. And I actually love watching those kind of movies because every so often you'll find like a hidden gem of a movie that it's like, oh, this movie is great. And a lot of times also it's they have aspects that are great, while others maybe not so much.
Yeah, they
but I try to, as a reviewer, I try to review them a little bit differently than I review a big release, because you understand that they have a lot of budget restraints. It may be their friends they might have made it with. Like, 'cause we've done that. I've made movies.
Yeah.
We've
in people's backyards.
Yeah, we've made a handful of films that were just our friends doing us a favor to help get this film made. And
The worst is when, remember when Arlen shaved? And we're like, why?
No, that wasn't Arlen.
Who was it?
That was Richard.
Oh, Richard
That was
shaved.
for Silent Assassin.
We're in the middle of a movie.
We were shooting this movie, and it was like, I say it's a movie. It's like a 30-minute little mini short film, and it was this action thing, and it was really my test to see if I could do it. And all the heavy action and the stunts were really done by me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want anybody else to get hurt. But there were a lot of fight scenes. I just took all the risk.
Yeah.
And so one of our leads was a friend of mine named Richard, who he played like this cop, and so because everybody was doing this favor, we had to shoot when people were free.
Yeah. Which was hard.
So we were basically shooting out on the weekends. And if he wasn't free, we'd shoot other scenes or whatever, and just then I pieced it together later.
Nice.
And it was funny though, because we had been shooting for like months, and he shows up, and I'm like, okay, we got to get this thing done. And he's like, we had a lot of problems making this film, people that wouldn't show up, shots that didn't come out right. We had some camera issues, we had some audio issues and stuff we couldn't reshoot because the people either weren't there or we couldn't get the location again.
So bad.
It got to the point that I was done. I didn't even care about this movie anymore. But I'm like, I'm going to finish it. And we had a couple of people that were like, just finish it. So I threw all the rules out the window, right?
It was bad.
I didn't care about continuity anymore and whatever. And then, and the last straw before that finally happened was Richard came to shoot, and he had shaved his goatee off. And he had told me he shaved, so we waited, not knowing he grew hair like a baby. And it was still barely grown in. So there was like a part of the film that he has a goatee. And it wasn't even a way I could shoot it that like it was the beginning of the film. It was one of the final sequences.
He happened to shave.
Yeah, he just shaved it because he wanted to.
I know, but I'm saying in the movie we could say he just shaved.
Yeah, and then there was he didn't bring the right wardrobe, and so he had been wearing a shirt where we had shot his death scene early on, and he got shot, and so there was holes in his shirt. But then we had to go back and shoot an earlier scene. And so he wore the shirt backwards, and he wasn't supposed to turn around in the shot to walk away. And he goes to walk away, so he leaves, and there's these 2 holes in the back of his shirt.
It's horrible.
It's awesomely genius. Anyway, it's called Silent Assassin. Look for it, and you'll never find it.
You'll never find it.
We may upload it to our page.
Maybe
we'll upload it to our
we
YouTube
should.
page.
It's funny.
We'll get everybody's permission. We'll upload it to the YouTube page, and you can see a really bad
gosh.
film. Anyway, Hallowed Ground.
It had a better budget.
Yeah, it basically, they had a bigger budget. It's kind of a horror thriller. Essentially, it's these 2 ladies that go to this cabin. It's a lesbian couple, and there's clearly some drama, so they're going to...
Are they trying to work on the
relationship? They're trying to work on the relationship, which you don't realize for about the first 30 minutes that you have to listen to them talk.
That's not good.
And that's my first problem with the movie, is there's a lot of dialogue that doesn't really seem to go anywhere.
That's
like,
too bad.
Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
Do you want a tissue?
Nope, excuse me. I sneezed on the dog.
Okay, good.
No, there's a lot of dialogue that it serves a purpose. You know, they're setting up why they're there and what's going on with them and that kind of stuff. But then it just seems to drone on and on. I'm like, okay, is this a relationship movie, or is it something else?
Right.
And then they're told don't go past the boundary or the property line of this place. And of course, what happens?
They accidentally go past.
They don't go past, and that's where the confusing part for me really comes in. Is they never really pass the property line, but it's treated like they did. So then the hillbilly people show up, and then there's stuff happens, and it's like the movie is just kind of all over the place initially. There's some stuff that works. There are some great directions. It had a Hereditary vibe with like the cult stuff and things like this.
Which it can be okay.
My biggest issue for me personally was that it's a strong effort. Like the people that shot it had a vision of what they were trying to make. And the guy that I believe wrote and directed, he stars as like one of the main hillbilly guys, and he's fine. And there's some great moments, and it could have been with a bigger budget. It probably could have been a really great horror film, but it has a lot of the same issues that come with any independent film. You know, sometimes bad cuts, sometimes rush shots, sometimes things that go too long. It's like it needed to be edited a little bit. It was a little too long. But my biggest issue with the entire film is it felt like it was going somewhere bigger. Like the way the movie's set up at the beginning, and you're like, oh, okay, there's something bigger to this property.
Something's about to happen.
And then as it's building forward and you're seeing them praying and this, you expect something to happen, and nothing ever happens with that. Like something else connects to the beginning later in the film, but it's so small. It didn't feel like I was like, why did that part even need to be there at this point? Why couldn't it just be crazy people? You know? Yeah. So it's one of those movies that it was a strong effort. It just didn't work for me. Yeah. That doesn't mean it won't work for somebody else. So this is the kind of movie that if you come across it, I love the poster. The poster is very. Here's what the poster is there. Yeah,
I posted a link.
Yeah, the poster's very like retro. It's got a kind of a cool vibe. It's cool. But it's called Hallowed Ground. If you can find it, it's on demand, digital, limited release theatrical. So if you can find it, check it out. Decide for yourself if you like those kind of movies. You know, if anything else, I believe all independent films deserve to be seen.
Yeah, give them a chance.
And then if you hate it, you hate it, and move on. If you love it,
because people put some time and effort into it.
So
yeah, it's worth watching.
For anybody that doesn't know, is like when I started writing for Examiner, one of the things I set out to do was not be a standard reviewer. I don't want to just be.
Don't be that grumpy man that hates everything. Right. I'm serious.
I wanted to review things like me and you talk about it, or me and my buddies are talking about it, but we also had that insight of working on we didn't just do our bad film.
No,
I worked on some other people's films. I worked on some productions for NBC and for Fox, and doing fight choreography and stunt work and just extra work and all kinds of stuff. So when you're behind the scenes and you see how much goes into
theater.
But but you did a lot of productions. You know, you did a lot of musical theater and standard theater, and you've done crew and you've done lighting. And, I've worked some of the lighting with you, but the amount of work that goes into like 1 minute of footage is insane. So I'm a firm believer that I will try to find something good to say about any film I see.
There's always something good.
Like there's movies that I couldn't find anything good about it. And if it's like that, I always say decide for yourself and go see it. Because just because I like something or hate something doesn't mean it's fact. I mean, it is, but Because every movie that comes out is subjective.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be somebody that likes it.
Yeah.
Like the guy that made that movie, our movie. I love Silent Assassin. It's horrible, but I love watching it, and it's. I think the reason I love watching it is because I remember making it, and I remember the fun we had shooting it, and my injury. I ended up with knee surgery after that movie.
Who got poison ivy? Remember?
It was Mac.
We went back into those woods for one scene or something.
Yeah.
Or was that the
no,
vampire
movie? That was in.
That was our vampire movie.
Yeah. What is the name of that vampire movie? Torment.
Torment.
That was Torment. With your vampire face. Yeah. That is not in the Torment movie, but the movie's pretty bad. That movie, one of the best scenes of Torment we shot.
That is the best cover.
That is a good cover.
Sorry.
Is it because it's your face?
Uh-huh.
The best part of that movie, one of the best scenes we shot, is the one that all the film got distorted, and we never could reshoot it because remember we shot a lot of it on this old lady's property. She had this big mansion, and we asked.
That's where he got the poison ivy.
And we talked to her, and she was like, "Yeah, feel free." We went back in the back of the property and shot it, and came out great. And then I didn't want to bother the lady again, and the footage got. And then I couldn't get the same people back, and it just Anyway, so Hallowed Ground.
We get all off track.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you've never seen this show before, we're
welcome.
We're spazzes. All right, so Hallowed Ground's available now. Check it out if you want to check it out.
All right.
If you
what
like
else
those sort
do
of
we
things.
want to talk about today?
Well, we have an animated film, we have a superhero film, and we have a comedy.
All right, so let's go with.
You want to pick? Why don't we talk about the comedy because it kind of piggybacks off the show from a couple weeks ago anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of leading into a movie next week. It's the same star.
It's all leading into.
And who is the star?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Perhaps the most beloved man on the planet.
Right. Have you seen? I just saw, literally before the show. I was looking thinking that somebody says it was a post that said Keanu Reeves ain't taking no chances, and it's a bunch of pictures of him taking pictures with fans or celebrities. Mm-hmm. And if you look at every photo, he's not touching anyone. His hands behind their back. And it's a hover. Like, even with Dolly Parton, his hand's hovering.
That's
and
sweet.
he knows her personally. His mom worked with her. It was like one of her costumes, I remember, because he wore like her Playboy Bunny thing when he was younger.
That's so funny.
But every photo, it's like fan stuff, and he's like this, and it's always like the hover.
That's smart.
And somebody responded like, maybe it's just because he's a gentleman.
Oh, gosh.
But anyway, so speaking of Keanu Reeves, we had John Wick 3 not long ago. Next week he's going to show up.
No, and then last week.
It wasn't last week, it was a couple weeks ago.
No, but we had that other movie.
What other movie? We did. This has been a threefer. Leading into a fourther. So we had John Wick 3. Last week was Always Be My Maybe, which he had that cameo in, with a little great cameo.
So funny. It's on Netflix. Go
Next
watch
week
it.
he shows up in Toy Story 4.
Yep. This is
this
such a great.
This was unintentionally.
This is a great Keanu month.
This is an unintentional Keanu.
We're just gonna keep it going.
Trifecta, whatever you want to call it. I'm saying everything wrong.
Need some popcorn. It'll help you. Energize you.
I need some water. It was a movie called.
I don't know.
Oh dear God! Destination Wedding.
Destination Wedding.
Co-starring.
Winona Ryder, who's finally starting to look like an adult now. She's finally aged a little bit.
But you know she's in Stranger Things as well.
Oh, I don't watch that show.
I know that we've talked about it.
I know. Good
Well,
for her.
I don't think the show's as great as everybody makes it out to be. It is a good show. Yeah, it's a fun show. It's got monsters and all kinds of. You would dig it.
Well, Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder are once together in this lovely little film. It's on Amazon now.
Can you name one other movie they've done together?
Yeah.
What?
I don't remember.
Really?
I don't know.
They did Dracula.
I like Dracula.
Dracula.
That's where they think they're still married.
Yeah, that was the running joke when they were doing promotion for this movie.
That's so funny.
They talked about, because when they shot the scene of them getting married in Dracula, it was a real Romanian. Was it a priest or I forgot what it was. It was something to that extent. Mm-hmm. So they were both talking about like we might actually be married and don't know for all this time. But anyway,
I'm gonna go look it up.
Don't look it up while we're doing the show. Why can't we never have a conversation with and then you didn't even spell his name right.
It doesn't matter. Found it.
Anyway, Destination Wedding follows these two grumpy people who are going to a wedding.
They're going to a wedding.
And that's pretty much.
They don't realize they're going to the same wedding until like they're both heading in the same direction.
Yeah, and it starts off with like Keanu just. They're standing and waiting in line to get on the airplane, and he just makes a nice, polite.
I'm like, hi, how are you?
Conversation with the person next to him. She says something, and then they end up getting in an argument.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be next to each other, so they leave, and then it becomes They're going to the same wedding.
They're like always together.
So what's awesome about this movie? The movie is hilarious.
It is funny.
It's really good, and it's a small movie, but it feels big.
It is.
And it's really funny is the entire movie is just them two talking.
Yeah.
There's people in the background. The only other dialogue in this movie is from the television.
Yeah. But I like it because even though it's not dialogue heavy, it is, but it's not. It's
it's a dialogue movie, but yeah,
but it doesn't feel heavy, which I really appreciated.
And it feels like two people really having conversations.
Yeah,
they were quick too.
They were like boom, boom, boom.
It's like, and I heard that movie was shot in like 10 days.
That's awesome because the dialogue, a lot of the words are not easy because they're both. She's a lawyer or something, and he's something else, like something. So the dialogue is
smart people dialogue.
Yeah, high level words.
It's not our dialogue.
Not at all. No, I mean they've got some really difficult words at times, but it's just going. It's really good.
But it is good. It's some funny stuff. It has probably one of the best sex scenes ever.
So bizarre. So weird.
I'm telling you, normally when you talk about a sex scene and you say there's a tie involved, it's usually some kind of a bondage, tying something up. There's a tie situation happening in the sex scene that is hilarious. But it's so subtle.
That's all I could notice.
At one point, they talk about it for a second, and then you talk about it, you're like, what is with this tie? It is such a great little movie. It's funny. It's kind of heartfelt. It's deep at times.
It is.
I called it at the beginning of the movie that I was hoping it wouldn't have like a Hollywood direction. Yeah. And while it does, it didn't fit in the normal Hollywood thing, which still made it feel new.
Yeah, well, because both of them really aren't normal. I mean, neither one of them are into love
Hollywood scene,
or weddings.
You mean the characters?
The characters.
Okay, I thought you just said Keanu Reeves doesn't like to love people.
No, Keanu Reeves is lonely and he needs me.
He's not lonely.
So I'm going to leave you for Keanu.
He even said in this thing when somebody asked him, is he lonely? He's like, no, I have myself. I go and do my thing and I'm never alone.
That's true. No, but I'm saying in the movie, neither one of them are like romantically like, ooh, I'm going to fall in love. You know, just things happen. It's funny.
It's a great little movie. It's on Amazon Prime.
You need to check it out.
So that's a free plug for Amazon Prime.
There you go.
But it is. It's great dialogue. It's great characters. They feel like they play versions of themselves, even though they're not. There's no accents. There's no weird costuming. They're just. He looks like John Wick going to a wedding.
Pretty much.
You know, and she looks like she could be the mom from Stranger Things going to the wedding too.
Yeah, she looks cute. I like her hair right now, the way it looks in this. Or it's just normal, because I feel like before.
I think you're still thinking about Beetlejuice.
I am. I didn't like
Beetlejuice is awesome.
I didn't like it.
If you don't like Beetlejuice, it means you're a communist.
Well, I didn't like Beetlejuice, and I'm not a communist.
You are.
No.
If you don't like Beetlejuice, you are.
No.
I think that's in the Bible.
Beetlejuice is in the Bible?
No, that you're a communist. In John chapter 17, the little dot 7.
Colon?
I know, never mind, you just missed the whole point of what I was doing.
Anyways, go check out Destination Weddings.
It's a funny movie. And it's a short hour and a half section. So it gets to the point, it's right off the bat, it keeps going right up to the very end. So
I'm eating this whole thing by myself.
Because you're piggy.
I know. I love it.
She's gordita.
That's okay.
Anyway.
I accept this.
Alright. So moving on.
So the next week we're going to talk about Keanu again. Next week we're going to talk about Keanu
I'm just listening to you crunch on the camera.
That was like the biggest piece of caramel popcorn.
You have not stopped eating that since
I can't.
You do that. You're one of those at theater that drives me crazy. That like when we were watching the movie and the popcorn.
Which movie was that, babe? We'll talk about
about it in a second. So she's eating it, and it's not just you that do it. Other people that do it too. I don't understand people that eat nonstop.
I do, and I
in
know
like
I do
speed
it.
fashion. It's like.
I don't do that. I do it like
you do. It's like you may not move your hand that fast, but the hand never stops. Like I'll take a small little handful, I make a mouthful, I chew up, I watch what I'm doing. Once I'm done chewing and swallowing.
See, I don't do a mouthful. I will only do max.
It may be like 2 or 3 pieces. It's not like I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not shoveling it in. I may be like take it like this, grab a little chunk like this, throw it in my mouth. I chew. I finish watching it. When I'm done swallowing all the kernels, I might go back.
I am too.
No, you're like this. While you're still chewing, you're going over the next one. So there's the minimum of usually 3 cycling through your mouth at all times.
It's not true. But look, if I'm gonna pay the whatever gazillion dollars for this popcorn, I'm gonna eat it.
I have no problem with you eating it. But
just,
the movie is
just
2 hours.
The fashion and the way I eat
Not
it.
just you, but everybody. That's what you get. The movie's like 2 hours. You got time.
Oh, it's so funny.
Anyway, so moving on. Do you want to talk about the comic book movie, or do you want to call it like the animated movie?
Well, let's talk about the comic book movie, because I think we just need to talk about it and get it over with.
Okay, that sounds dark.
Not in a bad way. I just think there's been so much commentary about it. Let's set the record straight, because what we believe is the truth.
What we say is the only
Nothing
thing
else matters.
Yeah, everything else anybody else says is wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, well, the next one we saw is the final Fox-produced chapter into the X-Men franchise. It's been running since, what, like 1999? I think, or 2000? Well, I think it was 2000. Maybe it was 2000.
It's a long time ago. It's so long, I don't remember.
Would be X-Men Dark Phoenix, which has already technically been told in X-Men The Last Stand, but they got wiped out with Days of Future Past.
And I don't know why. I mean...
Why it got wiped out?
Yeah. Was it really wrong?
Oh yeah, it was nowhere near close, but that's not why I got marked out.
Okay.
X-Men, for the longest time, X-Men The Last Stand has been classified as the worst X-Men movie in the franchise. And ironically, the guy that wrote that is the same guy that wrote and directed this one.
So is this like a
redemption? This was his redemption, I believe.
This is his redemption.
He finally Kim Bird finally got a chance to direct an X-Men movie, and he went for the Dark Phoenix again. There's been a lot of speculation that this just might be a story that is not possible to do it justice on the big screen, because it's such a big story. Because it's...
How long is the book, or is it?
Well, it was a story arc in the series. It wasn't like a graphic novel. It was in the X-Men books, and
like
however many issues it went. And Chris Claremont and them that did it. It's one of the pinnacle X-Men storylines. It's a huge thing. It's not a throwaway.
Well, what I know is we did some things right. We actually went to space.
It's up there on par with Days of Future Past and how important it is to the X-Men franchise.
Oh, okay.
And probably more so.
Because, and I really...
Because it was a heavy Jean Grey thing, and because of that, you end up getting... I think after the Phoenix stuff, then it goes into the Madeline Pryor stuff, and then you get...
I don't know who that is.
Rachel Summers, who becomes Phoenix later.
I don't know who that is.
I'm just saying, that's how long it's kind of stretched into.
I gotcha.
Because there's another Phoenix later, which I believe was her kid, or their whatever, from the future or something. Anyway, but I don't remember where Rachel Summers came from, but, but she was Phoenix.
But I liked the other lady.
Which one?
The other Phoenix lady. Or Jean Grey.
From the original?
Yeah, the other movie.
Well, she was older when it happened in this one. It started manifesting when they were younger because of the apocalypse stuff.
Gotcha.
Because the dealing with the apocalypse woke it up, and then that mission... Remember, the whole thing changed by them never killing Trask in Days of Future Past. Right. So it kind of changed. That's one of the confusing things with the timeline of this X-Men series is they set up all this stuff where characters meet and characters do all these things, but by doing Days of Future Past, they changed all that stuff. Yeah. So we never get to the original. So originally, actually, it changed to every X-Men movie, because originally when Days of Future Past came out, a lot of people were just like, we talked about it a couple times, that it just wiped out The Last Stand.
Like, I got confused.
It wiped out X-Men Origins Wolverine. It essentially wiped out the bad movies. But then as it went on, it's now wiped out everything because... especially after this one, because the whole Magneto Mystique storyline can't happen now. Nightcrawler shows up way younger than he did in X-Men 2.
And didn't Nightcrawler belong to...
Well, in the comics, yeah, he's Mystique's son.
And then is this Fast kid actually Magneto's kid in the comic? Because that came up in the last
Quicksilver,
movie.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are Magneto's kids.
Okay, they're the ones that are in the other movie with Iron Man and all them.
Yes.
When they go in the city of
Yes, those two,
gotcha.
which Quicksilver in this movie is the same kid.
Okay.
Different actor, but same character.
Different actor, same kid.
But, excuse me, they're Magneto's kids.
I gotcha. With who?
But the problem was, with the understanding, they were also both X-Men. They were X-Men and they were Avengers. So
this is just so confusing to my little
The problem
head.
with the Fox Marvel Studios things was, like, they could use the characters, but you couldn't mention the Avengers or anything like that in the X-Men movies.
Like you couldn't say mutant or something.
No, well, in the X-Men movies, you couldn't mention the Avengers or any of that.
Right.
the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Marvel Studios, they couldn't mention mutants, they couldn't mention Magneto, so that's why they created them, and they couldn't call them, they had to call them special instead of mutants. And over here, they alluded to Magneto being their dad, but they never really said it. You know, like you understand it. Like in the later one, you finally know they kind of really say yes, he is.
He is, yeah. That's what they said.
But anyway,
it's so confusing.
So Dark Phoenix basically picks up where the last one left off, which had me so excited because they showed them in their suits. They finally all had their individual suits.
Yeah.
Cyclops had the Jim Lee style suit. Mystique finally put on clothes and put on a suit that looks similar to what she in the comic.
But she doesn't need clothes.
No, but she always had an outfit in the comics. And
I know.
From day one, I've been irritated that she's running around in scaly blue body. She never had scales, and
she was trying to impress Magneto.
I don't care. It's annoyed me. It's such a simple outfit to do, and the one they made for at the end of Apocalypse looked like it'd be a cool uniform to match the X-Men. And Nightcrawler had one kind of similar to what he wore in the comics. So I'm like, finally, we're gonna get the X-Men the way they look. And then what happens? We come to this movie, and they're back to wearing the what is it? The Joss Whedon
X.
And I forgot who the artist was in that story arc. But anyway, that simple X thing that I was like, which was fine, but I'm like, they set it up, gave them cool uniforms, and they took them away again.
Who knows, man?
So anyway, you being somebody who is outside of the box of the X-Men universe,
yes, I don't know
you don't have the nerd
That's
connection.
What I'm telling you, I don't know who that is.
You don't have the nerd connection to the Dark Phoenix saga and all the crap that came before and or after.
Yes.
What did you think of the movie as a whole?
As a whole, I enjoyed it. Some of the things that actually bothered me were a little bit of, I guess, the pacing maybe. Like we were go, and then something happens, and then it's like I have to wait for Sansa to finally like react to something. And then the other thing that was very off-putting to me, and maybe that's, I don't even know if this is a real character, was what's her name? And
which one?
Her face. Not to be mean about her face.
Oh, Jessica Chastain?
Jessica Chastain.
They did something to her.
Eye sockets were like extended or something, or hollowed out, or I don't know what it was. And I don't know if that's even a real character, if that's what she's supposed to look like, but it was off-putting, and the no eyebrows thing was very...
Yeah, I think the eyebrows aspect is what made the whole thing wrong.
I get that maybe because they're not from here or wherever.
Yeah, but remember...
I don't want to
looked like that through the whole
anything.
Movie.
Yeah.
So that can't be that.
Oh, that's true. Well, we can't tell you what happened.
Yeah, so that was what I thought from the trailers, that might be kind of the case.
Yeah.
But when she's introduced, you're like, okay, well, it can't be now.
Okay, well, I don't know. It was
and the character she plays is a male in the comics, so it was one of those changes that didn't necessarily need to be done, but it didn't matter because it could go through a lot of different kind of changes. Yeah. So anyway, that's actually an irrelevant part. It was just weird. Because they blended a couple of different story ideas.
They always do that.
Into the thing. And here's my thing is I talked to somebody else about this recently.
But see, in the poster it looks like she has eyebrows.
Maybe she didn't. They were so light that in the movie you couldn't see them. Dude. But I also look at any of these movies because, the X-Men especially have taken a big hit for the changes of storyline stuff. But all the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff, Infinity War, every story, Winter Soldier. No, all of them have been changed. Yeah. None of them are the exact storyline. It's just the enjoyable factor on that. I personally think the Avengers and all those other characters get a little more leeway because Marvel's making them. And the X-Men have there's been so many changes to other characters where X-Men has always had a pretty definitive history.
I feel like the only thing that's been consistent is Wolverine has been the same person the entire time.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like him as Wolverine. Because he does not look like Wolverine.
But he does to me, because that's the only one I know.
He looks like him in face and hair and claws.
Isn't he supposed to be
Wolverine is supposed to be like 5'2".
Yeah, and kind of stout.
And he's supposed to be like, not chunky, but he's supposed to be like this. He's supposed to be like this little beefy, muscular, hairy man who's like 5'2". He's like your height, if not maybe an inch or two taller. And he's this little squanty, cigar-smoking badass. And then you have Hugh Jackman, who's 6 foot tall.
He's pretty.
And don't get me wrong, I think Hugh Jackman's excellent as Wolverine.
He works hard.
But he's not what everybody wanted. And even all the way up until the movie The Wolverine came out, which I love, people still had a problem with it because that wasn't Wolverine still to them.
I think Patrick Stewart, too, is
I think is excellent.
Ingrained to me as Professor X, and it's always been hard for me to accept James McAvoy. So in that first, was it Days of Future Past?
First Class.
First Class, whatever it was, I was just like, no.
Well, part of that
But
too is
now,
you're getting a Professor X who had hair and he could walk, and now you've taken everything about what the average person knows of Professor X and taken that away from you.
And now,
because most people just know Professor X is the bald guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, but here's what I'm gonna tell you. Now, I think James McAvoy and Magneto were my favorite things about this movie.
They had great arcs in this movie.
Yeah, it's like from the beginning, the last 3 or 4 movies. I mean, you can. I get it now that when we go into Days of Future Past, when they're old dudes and they're still together and still best friends, and what's his name's like, what the heck is he doing here?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't. But I understand now why. Like, they can still be friends, but not be able to like be together, but they can still be best friends.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, you made me believe
It's
James
Captain
McAvoy.
America Winter Soldier all over again.
I'm not there with Winter Soldier yet, but
you
I
said
am there.
You were, you dirty liar.
I'm kind of there. I'm gonna watch it all.
That
was the other thing. It's like I want to watch all those movies again. I want to watch all
They're
these
right there
again.
in order.
I'm gonna watch all these again because I only watched like the last 4.
Oh, I watched all of them.
Just the ones with these characters.
Yeah.
But
here's my thing too: is the only downside is believing their age. I wish they would have aged them a little bit. Like McAvoy, you can believe when he's bald as Professor X because being so bald like that. Patrick Stewart doesn't look that old, you know, when those movies were made, and when he shows up in it outside of Logan, and you can see that he could age and kind of become that. Fassbender looks the same as he did in the 60s in the movie, you know.
well, but
and
doesn't he age slowly?
No.
Oh, well, in this I feel like
like in the comic when we see Magneto's always had white hair. He's always been an older guy, you know. Darn. So that's why Ian McKellen fit Magneto. Like, he was even a little too old for Magneto, but he fit the visual of Magneto a little bit more.
But if he was in a concentration camp, babe, he has to age very slow.
Is he what?
If he was in the concentration camp as like a 7-year-old or whatever.
I know, but
he has to age slowly.
Wolverine ages slowly.
He is.
Wolverine's the one that
When was that, y'all? Let's do some maths.
Okay, good lord.
Anyways. I like Jennifer Lawrence. I agree. I thought she should have looked a little bit older too. Here's my one problem with that: is every single movie, her blue has been like she was dark blue, then she was a lighter blue, now she's blue with scales. I don't know what's happening.
She's always had scales. Don't say she's now blue with scales.
Well, but before
they've been there since day one.
It was like dark blue with dark blue. Then it was a lighter blue with dark
scales,
blue.
It's always been a dark blue scales.
But it's never been a consistent color.
But all the Rebecca Romaine ones were consistent. It's the Jennifer Lawrence ones that have gotten inconsistent.
And her hair was different this time.
It's always been red.
It was orange.
It's just a different
last time. In the last few movies, and this time it's red.
It's always been red.
It's never been the same color.
But the tone, I agree.
They need to get it together.
What they should have done is just, instead of done the full body stupid makeup, they should just do the blue, the flat blue, like Nightcrawler is. Like, they did the same thing with Nightcrawler. They put the weird patterns in his face, and I know they do that to break up features on the film, but like in the comics, both characters are just blue. There's no weird scarification. There's no scales. There's no.
It works because on that other thing in Star Wars, that one dude was blue.
Yeah, it's an additional thing that I've never thought was necessary from day one. I thought Nightcrawler looked way cool in X2. I think this kid does a great job, and Nightcrawler has the best moment so far in this movie. But when they took away the poor kid, Cody has his really long neck. And in the uniform they put him at the end of the last one, kind of balanced it out. Gave him a big collar and stuff.
That was cute.
Now they took that away from him, so he's just Nightcrawler. Like, I don't believe that guy turned into Nightcrawler from X-Men 2. Because they don't... The problem is they don't look anything alike now. Whereas I can believe Cyclops. I can believe Mystique. I can believe Professor X. I can believe even Magneto. Even though from the time the dates we're at, if from 1992 to 2000, Fassbender turns into Ian McKellen, he lived a rough life for just those last years. But whatever. That part you kind of have to let go.
Yeah.
This is the closest so far we've gotten from the Dark Phoenix saga outside of the animated series. The space stuff is there. Not all of the space stuff. Probably don't know this. The entire ending of the movie was changed, was reshot.
I have no idea.
I believe it was supposed to be this big epic space battle, and it was supposed to be closer to the comic. But because of...
With the critters?
Well, it was some of them, I guess, yeah. But because of Captain Marvel, they changed it. Because they didn't want it to look like the same.
But if it's the story, you can't change the story.
Yeah, but you get too many people that immediately come out. It's like John Carter syndrome. They go, oh, this movie's just like Star Wars. This movie's just like this. Not knowing.
I like John Carter.
I know, but I'm saying not doing their history of those movies fed off of that story when it was written.
I'm always going to say I like John Carter.
I like John Carter too, but it was, there's more people than not think it was a ripoff of those other movies where, in fact, those movies were basis on moments like that. And when you have people and you're comparing it to movies, then you have the thing of, oh, well, the stuff they did in Captain Marvel is better than the stuff they did in Phoenix. So rather than do that, the option is to change it. Which the change they did, I thought was great. I liked the end sequence. I think it's the best use of the mutants in battle ever in any movie they've made so far. I don't think this movie deserves the bashing it's getting. Is it the best X-Men movie? Not at all. Is it the worst X-Men movie? Not at all. I still think... Look, I like all the X-Men movies, even though they're flaws. But I think Last Stand and Apocalypse are two of the weakest ones still. Of just the X-Men ones. But I enjoyed it. It's a different tone. It's darker. Yeah. It's a little wordy. But it's because this story is like that. It's not an action story. It's like it's a personal story of somebody that's kind of losing it and dealing with trauma and things.
Well, and I think it's also a story of really Professor X learning to become the Professor X that we know later.
Well, so that's another argument. A lot of people were talking about how they didn't like how they made Professor X kind of selfish and kind of,
I don't think he was.
But you know what I'm saying?
He was trying to do what he thought was
right. But what people tend to forget, the comic fans, and because these are the comic fans complaining. Yeah. Like, you would have a right to argue about that because you only know him from the movies.
Yeah, I only know the movies.
So if you had come to me and been like, this was so out of character for his behavior because that's not how he acts.
This was so out of character.
Right?
Yeah.
But if anybody that wants to call themselves a hardcore X-Men fan, almost the entire 90s, he was kind of a douche. He made bad decisions. He did things, and he did a lot of stuff, and this reminded me of that version of him.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that's to the point where, if Raven's bringing it up, and he's realizing I never should have made Raven change, and Magneto's like, I don't do that to begin with. I feel like at that point when we see Magneto and Professor X are actually very similar.
Yeah.
Completely in what they've done.
They both want the same thing, just in a different way.
But based on this movie, Professor X hasn't always been like 100%. Magneto wasn't either, but he was upfront about what he was. That's the thing. That's why I think the friendship or the kinship there.
Did you bring a drink or anything?
I didn't grow. It continues to grow. So I think that's one of those things you see with everybody. I think there's similarities in all of us, whether you're mutant or not. That we may all want the same thing. We go about it the different ways, and we all think our way is the right way. But I think if we work together in partnership like they had to do, that's what brings us all together in the end. So, there you go. That's what the movie's actually about.
Her actually sounded smart for 5 seconds.
No, because I was
now back to fart jokes.
I was gonna do one of these. Can you do that? I was never able to do that.
Yes, I can.
I think only boys could do that. I'm gonna drink from over here.
Don't put your big dirty lip in my beverage.
That or the other one where you push your hands together and make fart sounds. I could never do. Yes, yeah. I think that's just a guy thing.
It's not a guy thing. I know a lot of girls that could do it.
Oh.
The cool ones.
Well, whatever.
go
Anyways,
check out X-Men
Dark Phoenix. I thought at least all of that stuff in space was beautiful to look at. It was very pretty how they did it.
It's like I said, it's one of those that I look at all these movies as, and every time we talk about these comic book movies, I bring this up. I look at everything that's on film as an Elseworlds title. This is not the original story. This is what they're building based on what the universe they've built.
Yeah.
Did I like some of the choices they made when they made the first X-Men movie? Of course not, because that wasn't the original X-Men.
Yeah.
That was Wolverine and the X-Men is what that was.
Yep.
They based their entire franchise on Wolverine. And I've even had some people like, oh, well, I really miss Wolverine this time around. Because they were like, what about the whole saga of Wolverine and Jean Grey? And she's too young to be trying to hook up with Hugh Jackman in this movie.
At this point.
They said that it was originally written in the story.
Oh, no.
And they chose to not do it because they thought it would look too weird.
That would be inappropriate.
For old Hugh Jackman and the young Sophie Turner.
Now, I would go for old Hugh Jackman right now.
I know, but they're just saying they thought it would come off very...
Woo.
Oh, dear God. They said they thought it would look a little awkward trying to have 50-something-year-old Hugh Jackman and 20-something-year-old.
But at this
it might have made that Jonas
at this
Brother
point,
match.
he's not really here because according to Days of Future Past, he doesn't come back until later. Should be an adult, so then they can hook
Well,
up.
no, remember they've already found him. He's out in the world now.
I am so confused.
No, you remember in Apocalypse when they set him loose. Remember, that's where she wiped his mind and set him loose.
Oh, he's gonna come back one day.
Well, that's how he shows up in the original X-Men, and he has no memory.
Oh, it's a circle. It's Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
It's also that other
But
weird
his
movie.
body, remember his
that.
body in Days of Future Past, he leaves his body after it gets thrown into the water.
Woo,
Stryker
girl,
fishes
I
it-
just got it. Yeah, Stryker got
fishes
him
him out of the water. Then in Apocalypse, they find him in that cage, and they've got the machine on
Yes,
him, and
and
he's all crazed because he's at the
She unplugs him.
he's
out
got the
in
berserker rage, and then she took his memory and his pain away.
Yeah.
Sent him out into the world. So then when they meet him in the original X-Men, he has no memory. Remember, they
So
send him
it's
to
a-
Alkaline Lake, where then he meets Stryker again, and then he has the flashbacks of his past.
And there's the lady with the things.
Lady Deathstrike, yes. Who, again, I don't remember anybody complaining about Lady Deathstrike looking nothing like Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike did not run around wearing a business suit.
Well, you know.
She had like this samurai. It was a ridiculous suit for the real world, but she was dressed like a samurai with like a mini skirt and had the big hands and like a little samurai hat. And would that
would've
work?
been weird.
No, it won't work at all. But she sure as shit didn't run around in a proper business suit. So
never
hello.
know. Whatever. Anyways, moving on. Go watch Dark Phoenix. Be happy. Next. Are you over it yet? Oh wait, he's not over it.
All right, I'm done.
Okay, next.
It's not perfect, but it's fun. So go check
It's
it out.
fine.
The last one we saw was the latest in the
And-
new Illumination Entertainment
Illumination!
franchise.
And it's also the #1 movie.
And what is their other most popular franchise?
Illumination? The Minions?
Despicable Me, not the Minions.
Oh, the Minion series?
Despicable Me franchise.
Despicable
So this is their,
Me's.
technically, I believe now their second franchise. So they've now made
This
their,
is so fun.
I think this is the only sequel they've made that was not connected to that Despicable Me
Minions?
franchise.
Okay.
Anyway, and what is the film?
The Secret Life of Pets, Part 2.
Pardieu.
It's so cute. That's my thing. That's my review. It is so cute.
You know what? I went back and after we rewatched the first
We
one.
watched the first one.
And, you know, I don't know if you remember this, but when the first came out, I wasn't overly pleased with it.
You weren't, and I don't know why, because I thought it was so funny.
I enjoyed it the second time, and I think there was a lot of missed opportunities when I saw it the first time, or maybe my speculation what I thought I was going to see. When we rewatched it, I enjoyed it a lot more.
It is a lot.
This one I thought was a lot better.
This one is so good. It is hilarious. Like right off the bat.
This time around,
hilarity.
Sadly, due to the Me Too allegation stuff,
Aww.
Louis C.K. was replaced this time with Patton Oswalt. But Patton Oswalt does a great job. You almost don't even
didn't
tell the
notice.
difference. I mean, I could tell his voice, but he still brings the same like nervous innocence to Max. And
I love Max. I want a Max. Whatever. What is Max? What is he? What kind of dog
I'm
is
assuming
that?
he's some kind of like a
Like
beagle or
a Jack Russell?
Jack Russell Terrier. kind
Oh,
of
Jack
thing.
Russells are hyper. Never mind.
But I will. What I want to. I think Duke is the best designed character of that movie.
the big
His brother.
the big one.
The big fluffy brown one. Every time I look at him, like I was, as art side of me would kick in sometimes. I'd look at like his lips and the little hairs hanging above his lips and the way his face moved and just the hair flopping around.
Yeah, because he's very big.
He just looks like a dog you want to grab and wrestle
He's a
with.
shaggy dog.
You just want to tackle him and
Yeah.
wrestle with him.
So
For Max,
cute.
you just want to push over
Aww.
with those little legs. And of course, the hit character from the first movie, Snowball, which was Kevin Hart, gets a lot bigger part this time around.
Yes, I like Snowball.
Kevin Hart's a little more famous than he was when the first one came out, so they gave him a lot bigger part. He's a little toned down, but he's still crazed,
Yeah.
just in a different way now. We also get Harrison Ford, and apparently in his very first animated
Which is crazy.
voiceover role.
And you know that character was perfect for him.
It was Harrison Ford as a dog.
He
That's
was
exactly it. He
like
just
grumpy.
He was grumpy.
Super grumpy.
And,
Like no.
yeah, it was like it was just.
And I like that this one y'all will be happy. I don't hope this is a spoiler, but at the end of the last movie, you get to see all the different families that live in the building, and you see Cat Lady.
Oh yeah.
We get to see Cat Lady this time.
Again,
I'm
that was like
so happy.
you were just happy because that's like
That's
a window
me.
into your life.
Yes.
Your future life.
It was so funny. I just loved it. It was the greatest.
It was really funny. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I still love Chloe, who's the big fat cat, and I still like Gidget, who's the cutesy little dog. That's like the pampered dog. Anyways, I really liked it. It was great. So this time, Max and Duke, they've gotten over their problems. They're together, and they're like having to deal with. Can we say what it's about? About the other person. Anyways, what you see in the trailer is Max has to go to the vet because he has anxiety or something. And yeah, I don't want to tell you why, because it plays a role in the movie.
No, they basically do the same thing they did in the first movie, where they play up on different situations of the dog's lives. Like the first movie was all about
Duke coming in.
People leaving, and what do they do while we're gone?
Well, and then getting Duke.
This one is like, what do the dogs do when there's changes in their lives?
Yes.
And
then I started wondering, do all these changes affect like animals and their behavior?
He just suddenly popped up.
Vader, does it affect your behavior? Like if...
Well, it does, remember, because when we
moved...
I wrote in our review, I had a dog that we had to deal with anxiety, and it was, we had moved, and then right after we moved, we had like a big party. And he started stressing out. We had to get him like an anxiety collar, which might sound silly, but it was a big deal.
No, that happened to Vader too.
I'm talking about Vader.
Oh.
Who are you talking about?
I thought you were talking about your little dog from before, when the kids were little.
No, I'm talking about this dog.
Oh. This is Vader. Say hi.
I can't see him.
Huh.
Not even in the camera, you dork. Anyway, we didn't know what was wrong with him. He was acting lethargic. We took him in, and they said, "Has there been any life changes?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, we just moved to a new house." We thought he got scared from the noise of the party or something, and
I was like, did someone give him something at the party? And I was like, oh my god!
And they gave him this anxiety collar, and he, after about a day and a half, he was back to normal, like it never happened.
Come up here so people can see.
I think there is things that happen when things big life changes, and they got to figure it out, and sometimes it's good, sometimes
so that's what the movie's about. It's actually a lot of fun because all our characters are still there. Well, and everybody's going through life changes. Because remember, at the end of the first movie, Snowball, the little girl picks up the bunny. She's like, "Bunny!" And so we're going through kind of Snowball's life, and we're going through Max and Duke's life. Changed. Yeah, I mean, everybody's life is kind of changing and evolving, and it's so fun. I love it. It's the greatest ever.
It is. It's a fun little movie, and they brought in Tiffany Haddish.
She's funny.
Her and Kevin Hart are like really good friends in real life.
Are they?
Have you never heard that story about the $300?
What? No.
That apparently, it's been recently brought up more because they've been doing press for this, but apparently, before she was, I guess, famous, I guess she was just a stand-up comedian or whatever. She was living in her car.
Aww.
And I don't know if Kevin Hart knew she was living in her car or whatever, but the story they tell was something to the effect of, he just felt something about her. He felt like she needed help. She didn't ask for help.
Yeah.
But he gave her $300, and he's like,
Aww.
I don't know the exact phrase, but something like, I feel like you just need some help. You know, here's this. Go find you a good place to stay. Something. And that kind of helped her. And he said, go wherever you're at. Write out your list of goals. Mm-hmm. And she did. She wrote out your list of goals, and then not long after that, she got Girls Trip, and things started happening. And not that he changed her career, but
no, just having someone believe in you is encouraging.
She said she keeps trying to pay him back, and he refuses to take it.
Aww.
But he refuses to take it because he wants to hold it over. He says, she's like, tried paying him back numerous times, and he's always like, no, because I want to hold it over her head and say, remember I gave you that $300. So now, but they apparently have a good friendship, and they were talking about with this one. He said that they not only were really working together. He said we found a partner here that we thought would be great for her to have that, which is this character Daisy that she thought she would have some attitude but still work together.
It's
you know,
cute little dog.
They work together finally on Night School, and they have good chemistry, and they have something else I think coming up that they're going to work on. So they added her to the mix, and
that's so funny.
Of course the rest of the cast are a lot of the same people outside of her and Harrison Ford, and then Patton Oswalt taking over for Max. I think everybody else are a lot of the same characters that were around before.
Everybody else, so.
So,
I really like it.
It is. It's a fun little movie.
It is so funny.
If you like the first one, I think you'll love the second one.
Well, and I think if you have a pet and you have a family and you understand how pets are part of your family, you'll like it. There are so many funny things in this movie that I'm like, that's what the cat does, or that's what the dog does. It's so funny.
Max is essentially Vader.
It is our dog.
Everything they do, this stupid dog does.
He does. He does all of these things. It's so funny. I loved this movie. It was the greatest movie ever.
I don't know if it's the greatest movie ever, but it was a good movie.
It's up there with John Wick.
What? You were high, sister.
You're high. Well, because, you know, John Wick right now is my number one. And then Avengers. So, this might be number 3. Life of Pets, part 2. I need to make a list and start my list now because somebody at the end of the year always springs it on me.
I don't spring it on you. It's the end of the year.
You're like, hey, we're going to have our What's Your Favorite Movie of the Year show. And I'm like, because I'm not ready.
Not my fault you're dumb.
You're dumb.
I'm not dumb. I'm
Anyways, check it out. That's that. That's what we saw this week at the theater. Next.
All right, so coming
Hand
out
it
this
over
week.
to you.
Excuse me, sorry about that.
Don't swallow the popcorn.
Coming out this week is the latest in the Norm of the North franchise that probably nobody knew was still going on.
Oh, I didn't. Is this like...
This is like the third one.
What?
The first one's the only one that came out the theater.
Yeah, it was cute.
I think the second one, see, and I didn't like the first one that much.
It was okay.
I think the second one and this new one are both so straight to home release.
Uh-huh.
Norm of the North, King Size Adventure, I believe it's called.
Okay.
They're also putting out a Mean Girls 15th Anniversary Edition
Wow,
film.
has it been 15 years?
Yes,
The
you're
last
old.
time she was normal?
Yes, you're old.
Poor thing. I hope she's okay.
Their TNT is putting out the I Am the Night miniseries on Blu-ray and DVD.
I'm going to watch that. It looks intriguing. Sorry.
Did I ask?
Yeah, I'm letting y'all know.
Universal is putting out the Fast and Furious 8 movie collection on 4K.
Wow.
As they prepare for the upcoming release of Hobbs and Shaw coming out in a couple months.
I am so excited about that because they are some hot men.
They also have Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the 35th Anniversary Edition coming out. And this week, if you haven't heard, there was a article because they're making Ghostbusters 3. Mm-hmm. And it was announced that I believe it was Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver and maybe Dan Aykroyd were all confirmed to come back for the new Ghostbusters. They're putting out a Star Trek trilogy collection. That's the Chris Pine Star Trek films of J.J. Abrams, Kelvin. Yeah. I think they're calling it the Kelvin timeline. Leprechaun Returns, which is the latest chapter of the Leprechaun, which we talked about sometime back.
Is it still what's his name?
No, it's somebody new.
Shoot.
But it is a direct sequel to the original because it follows the character that would be Jennifer Aniston's daughter. Because Jennifer Aniston's in the original.
Yep.
So it's actually not a little bad movie. The review's up on our site. We watched it months and months and months ago, but they're finally releasing it this week. And the biggest release this week is Captain Marvel. It's coming to Blu-ray and 4K. Marvel's Captain Marvel, not Shazam.
Yeah.
So.
And we got some cool posters.
Yeah, we showed it last. I don't feel like bending over now because it's far.
We got really cool posters.
We got some promo posters and some promo artwork. Those are the big things that are coming out this week on Blu-ray and DVD.
At the theater this last week, we missed Late Night, which I still want to go back.
Well, and I found out that this week was a limited release.
Oh, okay. So we'll
and then it's getting a full release next Friday. So that's the new Mindy Kaling movie.
I Am Mother. I still want to pick up and watch it. It's on Netflix. So
right, well,
I think we can watch that. The Pavarotti thing I really want to see. Okay. This week, coming out at the theater, Shaft, Shut Your Mouth. So I'll be watching that this week.
Oh, is that coming out this week?
Men in Black International.
Is it? I thought that came out next week, the week after.
Says nationwide.
Huh, okay, well, I'm excited then.
What is The Dead Don't Die?
That is one I'm seeing tomorrow.
Oh.
That's the one, it's a Jim Jarmusch movie, which is the one with Bill Murray and Adam Driver and Steve Buscemi.
Oh.
I forgot who else. Iggy Pop.
That's random.
It's got like this great cast, and it's just this I think it's Chloe Sevigny, I believe, is in it.
I like her.
It's just
I
like
really
this.
like her.
It's like a zombie comedy.
It says Selena Gomez, Rosie Perez, Danny Glover.
Yeah.
That is a random assortment of people.
It is. It's crazy looking, but it looks great. So I'm seeing it on Monday.
Also, we've been waiting for this on Netflix.
Well, we weren't waiting. We were trying to watch it.
Well, I thought it was already out.
Yeah, we were going to watch it this week to talk about it, then realize it's next week.
Murder Mystery starring Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston.
Yes.
That's who I'm thinking.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's really it. Everything else is kind of limited release.
I do have another screening this week I'm looking forward to, though.
What's that?
I'm seeing Toy Story 4 on Wednesday.
What?
What?
I want to go see
I'm seeing it on Wednesday, so I'm super excited, but it doesn't come out till next week, so we won't be talking about it. Oh, that's look at the lineup, though. Have you seen, for the 21st when Toy Story 4 comes out, Child's Play's coming out as well? Have you seen all the posters? They've been putting all these... They're all killing the toys from Toy Story.
Are they allowed to do that?
Well, they're not. They place them in a way where you know what they're doing,
but
they're not saying, because a lot of the toys in Toy Story
are just random toys.
They're not owned by Disney. You know, like the Slinky Dog and Mr. Potato Head and all that sort of stuff. So they're little caricature posters that are kind of it's a fun campaign. It seems like your new best friend or thing like this is going. It's a genius marketing. But it's coming out the same because they know it's not the same audience.
No, not at all.
You know,
well,
so,
it might be. We're the same audience.
I know,
see
but
both.
in the bigger scheme,
like I'm going to be crying.
Child's
in
Play
Toy Story.
knows it's not going to be able to beat Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
There's no way. If it happens, the world has finally changed. But it knows its audience is more the adult audience and this and that. And the Toy Story 4 is going to be the adults, but more the kids. And, most of the kids that were big fans of Toy Story originally are now adults, so those people want to see it. It's funny, is like I've seen a lot of people post, like, is it weird that I'm super excited to see Toy Story 4? And I'm like,
no,
why are you weird? Some people grew up on it.
I love it. I cry through all of them.
I still think Lots of Hugging Bears just misunderstood.
Yeah, well, he was evil. Anyways.
Well, now we got to watch Men in Black Marathon, too.
Oh, man, I got so much to watch. So many things.
Yeah, 4 movies.
I know, it's a lot.
In 5 days.
Okay, I can do that.
Get it together, wacko.
Alright. No, because we got to watch these, too.
That's what I just said.
And the Toy Stories. And how many of these are there?
3 in 1.
And 3 Toy Stories.
That's not till the next week.
Oh, okay.
Like, we're going to watch them because I need to watch them, but you don't necessarily have to watch them. So
I gotta watch them. Okay.
Stop your belly aching.
Anyway.
Wackadoo.
What else?
That's it, I guess.
Alright, well, we did good. Woo! We did it.
Alright, so I didn't know that this was a problem. We've been doing this for 2 years.
I know. Sometimes we go long and then people complain, and I don't care.
Nobody's ever complained about us going long.
Well, they complained about us taking too long to start.
Well, that's because they're dumb.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Do we have any contests up there?
We do have a few, some of the same ones we talked about that I don't have any of them sitting here with me. Hold on, let me pull it up. I can tell you.
I can tell you right now.
Oh, what are you right here?
I'm here.
We have the Scooby-Doo movies Lost Episodes DVD giveaway. We also still have General Commander, the Unity of Heat. General Commander is the new Steven Seagal movie. Not a single person has entered that contest.
Aww, we're just going to send them to people.
I'm going to pick somebody that's entered something else and send it to them, just to be that guy. The Unity of Heroes, which is that's a new Wushu movie. And then the one that's fixing to end this week is the South Park Season 22 giveaway. So if you're a fan of South Park, get it in this week because it's fixing to be closed out and you'll lose your chance to get it Season 22 on Blu-ray. And also, one that's not up yet, fixing to go up is new. Lost in Space, the complete first season. This is the Netflix Lost in Space series. It's actually really good. I'm enjoying this show.
Is this Will Robinson?
Yeah, it's Major Will Robinson. That's the robot.
Oh, so that's kind of different.
It's a little creepier. Yeah, that's Will.
I've not seen this.
I know you haven't, but this is the Netflix series, not the original series. So if you haven't seen it or you're just a fan of Lost in Space and want a chance to win a copy,
there you go.
Here it is. It has all 10 episodes and a bunch of bonus features. It also includes the unaired pilot from the 1965 series.
Oh wow!
So it does have some of the older stuff in it too. So that'll be going live as well.
Cool.
And we might have a couple other contests about to pop up. We do have one other one that's going live tomorrow. The movie 13 Hours.
Yes.
13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, which I just posted the 4K release. We're going to have a 4K copy of that as a giveaway.
That's Jim from The Office,
John
right?
Krasinski, yes.
Yeah.
It's a Michael Bay movie.
It's
actually a great movie.
That's what it's going to be good. He does.
Well,
he does.
Depends on who you ask.
On war movies.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask. Because a lot of people are turned off by Michael Bay because of the Transformers world. But you can't deny the guy knows how to shoot action.
He does.
And he does great at this movie. So if you haven't seen it or you're a big fan of 13 Hours, as of tomorrow or midnight tonight, we'll be giving away a 4K copy of that. So if you don't have 4K, then I'm sorry. But I think it comes in the Blu-ray as well.
Probably does. Anyways, make sure you follow us on Facebook, on the YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitter at Hollywood Matter, MATR.
Also, make sure when you go to our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. The faster we get to God knows how many subscribers,
it's like 1,000.
The faster we can actually do the show live instead of recording it and then posting it.
We're getting there.
We were dumb and didn't start doing it when we originally started. There was a video on there. It's funny that's no video because it says waiting for the video from 2016. Because we set it up right when we first started doing this. We set it up.
Yeah, because we thought, hey, that's a cool
idea.
idea.
We're going to do it, and we never did. And back then, I believe you could still do live into it.
Yeah.
We waited too long, and now you got to wait for the subscribers to catch up, and so we got to record it. So
it's a mess.
This show will be up there tonight, but it'll be a little bit later on.
Oh well, we tried.
And if you are watching it for later on, we're here now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Peace, love, and chicken grease.
I gotta try to get out of this couch.
It's funny watching you try to get out.
Okay.
Stumble around.
I'm stumbling around.
Peace, children.